kind of a lot to take in with this possible strike, and that's why we're working over here with these whiteboards to lay it out as clearly as we can for you, because every bucket of water that you save could go right back in to the Spokane River. If this car has 4 unpaid parking tickets, that's when you would get the boot right there on your wheel. Ryan and I took a trip over to the SWX Sports Department. These guys are working very hard. The sentiment we've been hearing from so many people that we've talked to, they do not mind that this line is taking a while, and whether they knew Sergeant Moore or didn't know Sergeant Moore, they are happy to be here supporting local law enforcement, and they want to say thank you and pay their respects for everything he did for this Coeur d'Alene community. We are going to sit down right here on the line. We're joined by Joseph and his family over here, and explain to us this whole setup you guys have this morning. And this is what you have to deal with. It is pretty sloppy out here, so we wanted to show you what was going on. When you're in your car and you want to know if you're too close to a bicycle, if they can put their arm out and touch you, then you're too close. You can see this land is completely scorched, and if you look behind me on that hillside right there, we know the fire even went as far as that, but it's still smoky tonight, still hard to see. But we did talk to Steve, the man who lives on this property, and not only was he so thankful that his horses are still alive, but he is so thankful for a lot more. Here's what he said. On his first dusty drive back home in days,
It was just an inferno when we left.
Steve Lang didn't know what to expect.
Okanagan Fire Department drove up to my house and said a fire is jumping 5 miles at a time, and it's only about 2 jumps away from this place.
So today, surrounded by his Okanagan family,
Wow.
there was a lot to look at.
Gee whiz. Well, goodness gracious, girls. Huh? Been a tough summer, huh? There's what's left of my darn pig house. It's just nothing but melted aluminum. I won't be digging any more post holes with this one.
It would have been easy for Steve to see only what was missing.
It takes a lifetime to put all this stuff together. You just don't do it in a year.
But lucky for Steve,
That's enough for me. I'm gonna cry.
he could still see what was saved, even through the tears.
God and the firemen has saved all of this for me. But I gotta be thankful for God. I still got stuff left. There's other people that don't even have that. I got a house to live in, so I just make do with what I got, I guess.
And Claire, tonight, of course, our thoughts and prayers are with the friends and families of both of these men. One of these men, Sergeant Marty Betelune, actually spent 6 years of his 15-year Air Force career right here at Fairchild Air Force Base. And even though he wasn't from Spokane, the folks who became his family here loved him like a brother, a nephew, and also a son. Usually, we don't get to choose our family.
We made our own family.
But when we do, it's important to choose wisely.
Our little group was a mom and an auntie and 2 sisters and a niece. For Marty, that's what we all became.
And Sergeant Marty Betelune was a wise choice.
Fearless, crazy fearless, loving, loyal, funny, really funny.
In his time at Fairchild,
He always made us feel that we were important to him.
so important that when he passed,
There were 3 men from the Air Force in their uniforms, polished. And I just knew at that moment and remembered that he had told me he wanted to make sure that's how I would find out. I'm humbled by it.
in July, Janet exchanged her last Facebook messages with Marty. Janet said,
A group that formed a family for a while and once formed is always connected.
Marty replied,
They say family is not always necessarily blood. It's those who are willing to hold your hand while you're growing.
because sometimes the strongest families
He's a son of my heart.
are made up of the greatest of friends.
They don't have to love you. They don't have to. They don't have to be there through everything. They choose to.
Allison Flicker, KHQ Local News. When you want to say happy birthday or send a thank you card to someone, You can use one of these little cards right here, but when you want to send a message to the folks at USA Figure Skating to encourage them to pick Spokane to host their brand new international figure skating competition, you cannot mess around. You have to use a big card like this one. And that's why today we loaded this card into our car and carted it around Spokane searching for skating supporters.
I think it'd really be cool.
This is where it would all go down, the Spokane Arena, so we wanted to see if the people who work here were excited about this possible event as well.
Spokane has shown a propensity for skating events. They love skating, they love big theatrical productions, they love the competition, the glamour, the glitter.
We also wanted to see what this guy had to say.
It would be huge, you know, to take us to that next level. It really puts us on the world stage.
The folks here at Wilson Elementary School certainly like football, but we wanted to see if they're in support of figure skating. Would you guys go see it if it came to Spokane? Yeah! And lucky for us, they added some much needed color and creativity to our card. Say goodbye to the card, guys. We will be making sure the folks at USA Figure Skating see this card with all of your signatures before they make their final decision. We should know by next Wednesday, September 23rd, whether Spokane wins this bid. Usually the drive along Highway 20 towards Crystal Falls is beautiful, but today it looks a whole lot like this. Huge fallen trees all over the road, and a lot of people who live in this area are dealing with things like this in their yard. This is what Heather and Leonard Stone Cipher spent most of the night and most of today doing because
Trees were flying through the air, maybe 100 yards up in the air.
the thunderstorm was quick
It was here and gone in under 10 minutes.
and destructive.
Literally 40 of us banded together and cut each other's driveways open.
We had to cut through about 5 trees to get to their house, and then we came back out on the highway, had to cut through about 6 or 7, maybe 8 or more trees.
And when we're talking about tall trees, I'm about 5'5". This root system alone is significantly taller than me. Then just look how big this entire tree is. It fell across this property, and then just look how close it came to these folks' garage.
It was scary as heck.
But neighbors like Chris are thankful.
This tree here was falling as we drove under it. All I could do was floor the truck and make it go as fast as I could, and every one of these trees just fell next to us and behind us, all the way down the road, all the way up, and all the way up to the house. Grace of God is all I can say. I had 2 children with me, and I'm very grateful that they're okay.
Joanna Williams' home is not far away from land like this.
We've had 3 fires near here in the past 3 years. I want to be as best prepared as I can be in my situation. If I'm disabled, it takes me longer to get out.
Joanna already has an emergency box packed and ready in her car.
And I have things like sterno for stove. I have towels and washcloths, my important papers.
And today, her dream team came to the door to help even more.
Can we come in and chat about evacuation planning?
Sure.
Level 1, be prepared.
If you have disabilities, if you have mobile property, if you have things that are going to take a while to move, start preparing ahead of time.
Level 2, there's a risk out there.
We're going to want you to think, all right, you're going to have to leave your property at any minute if you want to stay safe.
And level 3,
when we hit a level 3 evacuation, we need you to leave.
that's where Joanna had questions.
Would it help if I have to evacuate to put the sprinkler on my lawn or just leave it turned off?
You can turn it on. That's always a help.
If you have a way of leaving a note on the door saying, I have left, there should be nobody in the house.
You've got some wonderful pets here. When you evacuate, I know you will want to take those animals with you.
Oh, yes.
And so we recommend that you take the carriers with you.
And by the time her fire emergency dream team left, Joanna was already feeling
Much better. Much better.
The folks at Fairwinds Retirement Community much prefer music like this to this. We wanted to make sure they knew
the names are very familiar. Don't know either one of them.
that 2 pretty famous people were in town today.
Real good talent doesn't always show up in a small area.
If it was up to them,
Why did it take 5 days to shoot a 3-minute video?
they would have invited a different artist.
Fairy tales can come true. Bing, Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett, Eddie Williams.
But even though Macklemore wasn't their top pick.
Yeah, I think I've heard that. Yeah.
You have?
It's a good one.
You like this one?
Yeah.
It's a good dance song, right?
I know. It makes you feel peppy.
They tested this new music out.
I don't think this is music.
The reviews, mixed.
What do you think of it?
I can do without it.
Why don't you like it?
Well, there's no melody in this stuff. It's just a bunch of yeah, 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 yeah.
Right, you kind of can,
there's a good
right?
beat, yeah. You'd even get a little jitterbugging done in there.
But if they saw Macklemore on the streets of Spokane,
they deserve a big congratulations. They've worked hard.
They'd have nothing but welcoming words.
Oh, I'm glad that they're local boys who are a success.
If you met them, what would you say to them?
Welcome to Spokane, boys.
A big thank you tonight to Donna, June, Fred, Lois, and Joan for listening to some music with us today. June actually told us that she would very much like for Macklemore and Ryan Lewis to come to the Fairwinds as their entertainment. So Macklemore, Ryan Lewis, if you are watching our show tonight, as soon as you are done with your music video right here in downtown Spokane, we suggest you head up north to meet some of your new fans and some people who are still, I guess, a little bit skeptical up at the Fairwinds. Allison in downtown Spokane tonight, KHQ Local News. Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on this Saturday morning for the Wake Up Show. I'm Allison Flicker. Thanks for joining us tonight on KHQ Local News 11 at 11. You're looking at video out of Wenatchee tonight. That's because we are following breaking news out of this area. A wildfire tearing through the city, forcing hundreds of residents to evacuate. The Sleepy Hollow fire exploded to 1,700 acres, and now dozens of homes and businesses are burning. We know right now that the fire started around 4 miles west of Wenatchee, but because of high winds, it is still growing. We have been talking to the Chelan County Sheriff's Office throughout this entire night, and they said if you live on the north end of Wenatchee, you should leave your home immediately. That means a level 3 evacuation. We just learned too that state fire assistance has been sent to help fight this fire in Wenatchee. KHQ Cynthia Johnson is in Wenatchee. She just got there a couple of minutes ago. And Cynthia, we've been seeing those pictures tonight, that fire searing through, and I'm going to send it to you. I can see it right behind you. A scary image out of Wenatchee tonight.